I didn't sign the papers. Now I'm at dinner with his mother, and Cho-Hee won't stop saying I told you so. When I left his office that day, I still hadn't signed page 12. I told myself it was because my pen ran out of ink. It did not run out of ink. I just couldn't do it. And now, 3 weeks later, I am sitting at a traditional Korean dinner table in the home of Seo Jun-Ho's mother, 8.5 months pregnant, wearing a hanbok that had to be custom altered twice because my stomach kept growing between fittings. Cho-Hee is sitting next to me. She has said, I told you so 6 times already, and we haven't even had the soup yet. Part 1. What happened after the office? Okay, let me back up. After the office, after the desk incident, the lion paperweight, the sitting-standing broken elevator situation, and the moment our daughter kicked under his hand, I went home. To my aunt's house. In Daejeon. Not to his penthouse. Let me be very clear about that. I was not ready. I am a reasonable woman. I do not make life-altering decisions in the middle of emotional ambushes in glass offices. I went home. I ate banana milk. The irony was not lost on me, and I called Cho-Hee. She picked up before the first ring was even finished. What happened? He didn't know, I said. Silence. Haran. I know. You didn't tell him for 7 months. I know. And he sent the papers as a placeholder. Cho-Hee, I know. I told you to mail them, she said. There it was. Number 1. She called me every day for the next week. And every day, Jun-Ho called exactly once. Not multiple times. Not flooding my phone. Just once. At 8 p.m. Every evening. Sometimes I answered. Sometimes I didn't. When I answered, he didn't beg. He didn't argue. He just talked. About small things. His day. A restaurant that opened near his office. A news story he thought I'd find interesting. Like we were still married. Like nothing had happened. Like he was just calling his wife at the end of a long day. It was the most infuriating thing he had ever done. Because it was working. Part 2. The mother. On day 9 of the 8 p.m. phone calls, he said, My mother wants to see you. I almost dropped the phone. Madam Seo. I need you to understand who this woman is. She is 71 years old. 4'11", reads poetry in the morning, and has sent 3 grown men to cry in bathroom stalls with a single sentence at dinner. She had approved of me when Jun-Ho brought me home the first time, which, apparently, had never happened before with anyone he dated. His assistant had told me, in a whispered panic, that Madam Seo's approval was rarer than a solar eclipse. So when she approved of me, I felt like I had won something. When I left, I felt like I had returned a trophy I hadn't earned. Haran, Jun-Ho said on the phone. She's not angry. She just wants to see you. Why? Pause. She said, and I quote, That child deserves to know her grandmother before she arrives. I put the phone down on my chest and stared at the ceiling for a very long time. My aunt walked in, saw my face, and said, You're going, aren't you? It wasn't a question. Part 3. Cho-Hee arrives. I made one condition. Cho-Hee comes with me. Jun-Ho agreed immediately, which honestly made me more suspicious than if he had argued. Cho-Hee showed up at my aunt's house the morning of the dinner with a notebook, a voice recorder, and a printed list of questions that need answers before Haran makes any decisions. There were 23 questions. Cho-Hee. Number 7 is very important, she said, clicking her pen. We're going to dinner. Number 7. What exactly is his plan going forward to ensure transparency and prevent another Eura situation with specific timelines and measurable outcomes? I stared at her. You printed this. I laminated it, she said. I looked. She had laminated it. I don't know whether to be embarrassed or grateful that my best friend is like this. I have decided to be both. We drove to the Seo family home, which is less a home and more a compound that looks like it was designed by someone who wanted a palace but was trying to be subtle about it, and Cho-Hee spent the entire drive reading me her questions like a legal briefing. By the time we arrived, I had a headache and Jun-Ho was standing at the gate waiting for us. He was wearing a simple dark sweater. No suit. No tie. He looked, painfully, unfairly, deeply normal. Cho-Hee stepped out of the car, walked up to him, looked him directly in the eye, and said, "Number 7. Jun-Ho blinked. Timelines and measurable outcomes, Seo Jun-Ho. He looked at me over her head. I shrugged. She laminated it. Part 4. Madam Seo. Madam Seo was sitting in the main room when we came in. Small, elegant, wearing a deep blue hanbok and drinking tea like she was sitting on a throne. She looked at me, then at my stomach, then back at my face. And she stood up, slowly, with great dignity, walked over to me, took my face in both her tiny hands, and said, "You look terrible. Thank you. You've lost weight in your face. You're not sleeping. And that color," she gestured at my dress, "is wrong for your skin tone. I can go home." "Sit down, child, I'm not finished." I sat down. She sat across from me, folded her hands in her lap, and looked at me with eyes that had seen about 40 more years of life than mine. "My son," she said, "is an idiot." From the hallway, Jun-Ho's voice. "I can hear you, Eomma." "I know," she said, without raising her volume. She looked back at me. "He gets it from his father. That silence. That plan. As if a woman wants to be managed like a business problem." I felt something loosen in my chest. "He sent me divorce papers," I said. "I know." I told him it was the stupidest thing I had ever heard. He called them a placeholder. She closed her eyes briefly, the way you do when something is too exhausting to fully react to. "Yes. He told me that too." "What did you say?" She opened her eyes. I told him that a placeholder is for parking spaces, not marriages. Cho-Hee, sitting next to me, slowly wrote something in her notebook. Madam Seo looked at her. "Are you writing down what I'm saying?" "Yes," Cho-Hee said. "You're very wise." Madam Seo looked at her for a moment. "You can stay," she said. Part 5, Dinner. The food was extraordinary. Galbijim, japchae, John that dissolved on your tongue, kimchi that Madam Seo had apparently made herself at 71 because she didn't trust anyone else to do it correctly. I ate like I had never seen food before. In my defense, I was 8.5 months pregnant, and I had been surviving on convenience store kimbap and banana milk for weeks. Jun-Ho sat across from me. He watched me eat with an expression that was caught somewhere between relief and devastation. At one point, I reached for a third piece of galbi and made direct eye contact with him while doing it. He looked away first. "Good." Cho-Hee had worked through questions 1 through 6 by the time the main course arrived. Jun-Ho answered every single one. Calmly. Fully. With the same focus he probably brought to crime-family negotiations, which was both reassuring and slightly unhinged. Question 7 she saved for dessert. He answered that one too. Specifically. With timelines. Cho-Hee looked at her laminated sheet for a long moment. Then she looked at me. Then she looked at Jun-Ho. "Okay," she said. That was it. Just okay. From Cho-Hee, who had laminated a 23-question document. That was basically a standing ovation. Part 6. What he said at the door. After dinner, when Cho-Hee had been absorbed into a conversation with Madam Seo about traditional kimchi fermentation, which, somehow, was going extremely well, Jun-Ho walked me to the front door. We stood there for a moment. The night was quiet. Cool. The kind of evening that feels like it's waiting for something. "Thank you for coming," he said. "Thank your mother. She's very convincing. She threatened to call you herself if I didn't." I believe that completely. Silence. He looked at my stomach. Then at me. "Haran, I'm not going to keep calling every night if it's making things harder for you." He exhaled. "I need you to know that I'm not going anywhere. Whatever you decide, I will be here. Even if I sign page 12. Even then." He met my eyes. "But I really hope you don't." My daughter chose that exact moment to kick so hard that I actually flinched. Jun-Ho saw it. "Is she? She's been doing that all day. She's dramatic." He smiled. "Just slightly. She gets that from you. She gets it from the banana milk," I said. "Which I drink because of you. So technically your fault." He laughed. A real laugh. Quiet and surprised. Like he'd forgotten he could do that. and I stood at his mother's door, 8.5 months pregnant in an altered hanbok, and I thought, this is either the best decision or the worst decision of my life. And I genuinely cannot tell which. Part 7. The Delivery Room. 4 days later, I went into labor. At 2 a.m. in my aunt's house. Jun-Ho's 8 p.m. call had come and gone. I had answered. We had talked for 40 minutes about nothing and everything. I had gone to sleep thinking, tomorrow. I'll decide tomorrow. The universe, apparently, had its own timeline. My aunt called Jun-Ho while I called the ambulance because that is the kind of woman my aunt is. No consultation. No warning. Just, your wife is in labor. Hospital. Now. He arrived before the ambulance did. I don't know how. I don't want to know how. There are things about Seo Jun-Ho's abilities that I have learned not to question. He walked into my aunt's living room where I was sitting on the floor because the couch felt wrong and the floor felt right, don't ask, and he took one look at me and sat down on the floor next to me. Not above me. Not standing over me. On the floor. In his expensive sweater. On my aunt's living room rug. I'm here, he said. And that was it. No grand speech. No dramatic declaration. Just, I'm here. And something inside me that had been braced for 7 months, finally, let go. Part 8. Her. Our daughter was born at 5:43 a.m. She came in screaming, furious, red-faced, already deeply unimpressed with the world, and they placed her in Jun-Ho's arms because I was too exhausted to hold anything that wasn't a pillow. He stood there. This man. This terrifying, powerful, placeholder divorce papers man. Holding this tiny, screaming, perfect thing. And he looked at her like she had personally rearranged every priority he had ever had. Which, honestly, she had.
She's so small, he said.
She was just inside me, I said. She felt enormous. Haran. Jun-Ho. I love you. I looked at the ceiling. You have very bad timing. I know. I'm exhausted and I've been in labor for 3 hours and I look like... You're the most beautiful person in this room. There are only 3 people in this room, and one of them is a newborn. Still true. Cho-Hee, from the corner, where she had somehow been allowed to stay. I told you so. Count, 11. Outro. We named her Seo Jun, which means gentle and gracious. She is neither of those things. She is loud and opinionated and already bossy at 3 weeks old. She is absolutely perfect. Jun-Ho comes every day. I have not signed page 12. I have also not moved back in.
Yet.
We are figuring it out.
Slowly.
On my timeline, which Jun-Ho is respecting with a patience that honestly still surprises me. His mother visits twice a week. Cho-Hee visits 3 times a week and has started bringing the laminated question list to monitor progress. My aunt has started feeding Jun-Ho every time he comes because, as she says, he looks thin.
And sad.
Feed a sad man, Haran. He is neither thin nor sad, but my aunt has decided, and there is no arguing with her. And me? I am sitting here, 3 weeks postpartum, holding Doon while she sleeps. And I think, maybe some things don't need a plan. Maybe some things just need time. And banana milk. Tell me in the comments. Did Haran make the right call not signing page 12? A. Yes, given the chance, Doon needs her father. B. Take it slow, he still has things to prove. C. Cho-Hee was right about everything and should be everyone's best friend. D. Madam Seo is the real hero of this story. This is Air Nero romance. Subscribe part 3 is coming, and it involves Jun-Ho meeting my mother, which is a whole other level of chaos. Like if Doon kicking at the right moment gave you chills. Drop a banana milk emoji if you've been Team Jun-Ho since the beginning. See you in part 3.